Jack Carson was a man who liked to take chances. Sometimes those chances paid off and sometimes they didn't. Today he was floating outside a dead warship in deep space, hoping to find something valuable to sell. The warship looked old and broken, but Jack didn't care. He had a job to do. The silence of space was cold and empty. Jack wore his suit and moved carefully through the ship's dark corridors. Broken machines and strange alien signs were everywhere. It was creepy, but Jack was used to it. He checked his scanner. Nothing much, except one small life pod still sealed and hidden inside the ship's control room. Jack opened the hatch of the pod. Inside was a woman, or something like a woman. Her skin was a soft shade of blue, and her eyes were large and green. She wore a silver dress that shimmered in the pod's dim light. She looked very tired but alive. Jack knew this was no ordinary person. "Are you okay?" Jack asked, crouching beside her. She blinked slowly and whispered, "Thank you." Jack smiled. "No problem, I'm Jack." She nodded weakly. "I am Princess Zilara of the Thalvari." Jack froze. "Princess?" That sounded important, but he didn't have time to worry. He helped her out of the pod and she looked at him with curious eyes. "Where can I go?" she asked softly. Jack shrugged. "I don't know. But you're safe. Now." Then something strange happened. Zilara reached out and gently touched Jack's forehead with hers. It was a simple gesture, but Jack felt a sudden warmth in his chest. "What was that?" Jack asked, stepping back. Zilara smiled sadly. "You just proposed marriage to me." Jack blinked in surprise. "What? No, I didn't know that was a thing." Zilara explained quietly. "Among the Thalvari, this touch is the oldest and strongest way to ask for a bond. It cannot be broken." Jack's heart pounded. He had made a huge mistake. He didn't even know the rules. Before he could think more, alarms started ringing through the warship. Red lights flashed. Outside, ships were coming fast. Thalvari warships. Jack grabbed Zalara's hand. "Looks like they're coming to get you, and maybe me too." The warships docked quickly. Soldiers in shiny armor boarded the warship and arrested Jack. He protested loudly, but they didn't listen. As they took him away, Zilara looked at him with a sad smile. "You are now my husband. The kingdom will decide what happens next." Jack sighed and thought, "Well, Jack, you just got married to an alien princess and you didn't even know it." Jack was still handcuffed when the large ship carrying him and Princess Galara landed on the Thalvari home planet. The planet was beautiful, with tall blue trees and glowing rivers. But Jack didn't have time to look around. The moment they stepped off the ship, soldiers pushed him forward. They took Jack to a huge building made of shining silver. Inside was the royal palace. Jack had never seen anything so grand. The walls were tall, the floors smooth, and everywhere there were strange paintings and statues. Zilara walked beside him. She wore a long blue dress and her face was calm but serious. Jack still didn't understand what was happening. He just wanted to go home. Suddenly, a loud voice filled the room. "Jack Carson, you have touched Princess Zalara's forehead. By our laws, you are now bonded to her for life." The voice was cold and strong. Jack blinked. "Bonded? For life? I didn't mean to do that. I didn't know it was a rule." Zilara looked at the royal council. "It is true, the bond is unbreakable. Jack is now my husband." The council members whispered among themselves. Some looked angry, others looked worried. One man stood up. "This human does not understand our ways. He is dangerous to our traditions." Jack felt trapped. "Look, I'm not dangerous. I'm just a guy from Earth. I didn't know your customs." Zilara put a hand on his arm. "Jack must stay here until the council decides what to do. This is serious." Jack sighed. He hated being told what to do, but he knew fighting the council was useless. The days passed slowly. Jack learned more about Thalvari rules. He learned that their marriages were political, not just personal. A marriage could change alliances or start wars. Jack realized he was in the middle of something much bigger than himself. The council did not want a human as a royal husband. They wanted a pure Thalvari prince or princess. Some council members wanted to send Jack away. Others wanted to keep him to stop enemies from using the marriage as a weakness. One night, Zalara found Jack staring out of a palace window. "Are you angry with me?" she asked. Jack shook his head. "No, I'm angry at myself for not knowing. The rules." Zalara smiled sadly. "The rules are old and strange to you, but you have something no one else has, your courage and heart." Jack looked at her. "I don't know if I'm ready for this. I don't even know what this is." Zalara took his hand. "We will face it together." But the council's decision was still coming. Jack did not know if he would be free soon, or if his new life as a royal had only just begun. The next morning, Jack woke up early in a strange room in the palace. His head was heavy, and his hands were still cuffed. He rubbed his eyes and looked around. The walls were smooth and blue, and strange lights shone softly from the ceiling. He was not in Kansas anymore, or even on Earth. He was stuck in an alien palace, married to a princess he barely knew, and surrounded by people who didn't trust him. Later that day, Jack was brought before the Thalvari High Council. The council was a group of serious, powerful aliens who controlled the kingdom. They wore long robes decorated with glowing symbols. Their faces showed no kindness. The council leader spoke first. "Jack Carson, you have broken many customs by your actions. However, the bond to Princess Zalara remains strong. To prove you are worthy of this bond, you must pass the trial of worth." Jack frowned. "Trial of worth? What kind of trial?" One council member explained. "It is a series of tests designed to show your strength, intelligence, and loyalty. If you fail, you will be separated from the princess forever." Jack's stomach twisted. He did not want to lose Zalara, but he also didn't want to be part of alien traditions. Still, he knew he had no choice. The next day, Jack was taken to the trial grounds, a large open area with strange machines and obstacles. His first challenge was to fix a broken energy gate that stopped people from entering the city. The gate was old and complex. Other candidates had tried before and failed. Jack looked at the metal tools on the ground and thought, maybe this is like fixing a broken engine. Using his experience as a mechanic, Jack started checking the wires and energy flows. He found a loose connection and fixed it with a piece of metal he found nearby. Slowly, the gate's lights turned green. The crowd watching was surprised. They whispered among themselves. Jack smiled a little. Maybe he could do this. The next test was a fight against a robotic guard. The robot was big, strong, and fast. Jack didn't have weapons, but he was clever. He dodged the robot's punches and used the environment, jumping on a metal platform and dropping a heavy pipe onto the robot's head. The robot stopped moving. Jack wiped sweat from his forehead. For the final test, Jack had to solve an ancient puzzle. It was a wall with glowing symbols that needed to be pressed in the right order. Jack had no idea what the symbols meant, but he noticed some looked like Earth numbers. He pressed the symbols in the order of 1, 2, 3, hoping for the best. The wall opened. The crowd cheered loudly. Jack had passed the trial of worth. Princess Zalara smiled at him proudly. "You are stronger than I thought." Jack laughed. "I'm just lucky, maybe." The council members looked at each other in surprise. No human had ever passed before. Jack didn't know what would happen next, but for the first time since arriving, he felt like he belonged. Jack sat quietly in a grand hall, still catching his breath after the trial of worth. He thought maybe things were finally going his way. But then the palace doors burst open with a loud crash. Soldiers rushed in, shouting warnings. "Attack! Someone is coming!" Jack jumped up and looked out the window. Outside, strange ships were zooming toward the palace, fast, dark, and armed to the teeth. They were pirates, known for attacking rich planets and stealing anything they could find. The palace guards scrambled to prepare defenses. Princess Zalara grabbed Jack's arm. "This is no ordinary attack," she said, her voice tight with worry. "They want to capture me, and maybe you too." Jack felt his heart race. He was still new to this world, but he wasn't about to run away. As the pirates stormed the palace gates, Jack grabbed the nearest thing he could find, a heavy wine decanter from a nearby table. It wasn't a weapon, but Jack wasn't a soldier. He was going to have to use his brain. A pirate burst into the room, sword raised. Jack swung the decanter and hit the pirate's head with a loud crack. The pirate fell down unconscious. Jack smiled. Not so tough. But more pirates came, fast and furious. Jack ducked behind furniture, grabbed a steak knife from the kitchen, and fought back with quick, clever moves. Princess Zalara wasn't just standing by. She ran to the palace control room and activated an old, giant mech suit, a powerful machine used by royalty for defense. She climbed inside and powered it up, its metal arms glowing with energy. Jack saw her through the window, and without thinking, he ran outside and jumped into the mech suit's passenger seat. "Let's show them what humans and aliens can do together," he said with a grin. The mech suit stomped forward, blocking the pirate ships. Zalara controlled the heavy arms and blasted energy beams, while Jack helped by operating the mech's shields and using tools to repair damage quickly. Together, they fought off the pirate attack. The invaders were surprised by the teamwork and strength of the royal couple, or at least what the council called a couple now. When the last pirate ship fled, the palace erupted in cheers. Jack and Zalara stepped out of the mech, tired but victorious. Zalara looked at Jack with a new respect. "You're not just lucky. You're brave." Jack wiped sweat from his forehead and laughed. "I guess I'm learning fast. Or maybe I just don't know how to quit." But deep inside, Jack knew this was only the beginning. Enemies would not stop coming, and the stakes were higher than ever. If he wanted to survive and protect Zalara, he would have to become more than just a lucky human. He had to become a hero. After the pirate attack, things changed fast. Jack was no longer just a clueless human stuck in alien politics. People began to notice him, some with hope, others with fear. The Galactic Embassy, a group of humans who worked to protect Earth's people in space, finally found out about Jack's situation. They sent a team to offer help. "Jack," said the lead officer, "we can get you out of here. No one needs to force you into this alien marriage." Jack looked at them and shook his head. "Thanks, but no. I'm not going anywhere. Not yet." The officers looked surprised. "Why stay? This is dangerous." Jack smiled a little. "Because someone just tried to blow up my room last night. I'm mad, and I want to fight back." The truth was, Jack was starting to care for Zalara and this strange planet, but more than that, he hated being treated like a prisoner. Zalara met him later that day. "Why are you still here? You don't have to do this." Jack looked into her eyes. "Because humans don't run away from fights. We face them head on, even if we don't have all the rules." Zalara smiled softly. "That is one thing I like about you." Jack began to use his human ways to make new friends and allies. He was blunt and honest, which shocked many aliens who were used to careful words and secret deals. But Jack's simple style worked. People trusted him. He made deals with merchants, repaired old machines, and shared Earth stories that made others laugh. Soon, even some royal advisors started to listen. Not everyone liked Jack's style. Some Thalvari nobles whispered that he was a dangerous wild card who could ruin the kingdom. One night, Jack's room was almost destroyed by an explosion. He barely escaped. The message was clear. Some powerful people wanted him gone. Instead of hiding, Jack used the attack to send a message. At a public gathering, he showed the damaged room and said, "If you want to hurt me, you'll have to get through all of us." The crowd cheered. Zalara was proud but worried. "This is not just about us anymore, it is about the whole kingdom." Jack nodded. "Then we better get ready." For the first time, Jack felt like he belonged, not just as a husband, but as a defender of a world he never expected to call home. The day of the official bonding ceremony arrived. The palace was decorated with bright banners and glowing lights. Aliens from many worlds gathered to watch Jack and Princess Zalara become officially married in front of the entire kingdom. Jack stood in his best clothes, uncomfortable and stiff. He tried to smile, but his mind was busy. He didn't fully trust the peace around him. After all, someone had tried to kill him before. Could today really be safe? The ceremony began, with music from strange alien instruments and prayers in a language Jack couldn't understand. Solara looked beautiful in her royal robes. Jack felt nervous but proud standing beside her. Suddenly, alarms blared through the palace. The crowd gasped as pirate ships appeared in the sky, firing energy blasts toward the city. Jack's heart pounded. Not again, he thought. The palace guards rushed to defend the gates, but the pirates were too many. Jack didn't wait for orders. He grabbed a heavy ceremonial sword from a stand and charged into the fight. Using quick moves and sharp thinking, Jack took down several pirates. He was no soldier, but his earth training as a mechanic and scavenger helped him in strange ways. He dodged blasts, used the environment, and fought with everything he had. Meanwhile, Solara ran to the control room where the royal mech suit waited. She climbed inside and powered it up. The mech was tall and strong, its arms glowing with energy. Weapons. Jack saw her through the window and shouted, "I'm coming with you." He jumped into the mech's passenger seat just as it began to move. Together, they controlled the giant machine, fighting the pirates with laser beams and powerful punches. Jack helped repair the mech's systems during the battle, using tools from his belt. Solara piloted with skill and determination. The two made an unstoppable team. The pirates didn't expect such resistance. After a fierce battle, they began to retreat. The city was safe again. When the fight ended, the crowd cheered loudly. Jack and Solara stepped out of the mech, tired but smiling. Solara looked at Jack and said, "You are not just my husband, you are my partner." Jack laughed. "I guess I'm stuck with you now." The ceremony continued, this time without interruptions. The High Council officially recognized their bond, but Jack knew the peace might not last long. Enemies still watched, waiting for a chance to strike. Still, as he stood beside Solara, holding her hand, Jack felt ready for whatever came next. After the wedding, Jack thought things might finally calm down, but peace was not something the Thalvari knew well. Late one night, Jack couldn't sleep. He walked quietly through the palace halls, thinking about everything that had happened. Suddenly, he heard whispers coming from a dark room down the hall. Curious, Jack peeked inside. Two men in royal robes were talking in low voices. One was tall and thin with sharp eyes. The other was shorter but looked dangerous. "We can't let the human stay," the tall one said. "He ruins our plans." The short one nodded. "The kingdom must stay pure. The princess should marry a Thalvari prince, not a foreigner." Jack's heart sank. People in the shadows were plotting against him. He slipped away, thinking fast. If they wanted to get rid of him, he needed to find allies. The next day, Jack told Solara what he had heard. She frowned but nodded. "I will speak to the council. You must be careful." Jack agreed. He started meeting with trusted friends in secret, sharing what he learned. Together, they planned how to protect the kingdom and their future. But the enemies were clever. One night, a mysterious figure left a warning message for Jack, carved into the palace door. "Leave or lose everything." Jack showed the message to Solara. "They're serious, but I'm not going anywhere." Solara placed her hand on his arm. "You have courage. That is why you are my husband." Jack smiled. "And why I'm going to fight for you, no matter what." He didn't know what the future held, but one thing was sure. This was not just a story about a human married to an alien princess. It was a battle for trust, loyalty, and a new kind of family. One bright morning, as Jack was walking through the palace gardens with Solara, a ship landed nearby. It was small, sleek, and clearly not from the Thalvari fleet. Jack's heart beat faster. He recognized the emblem on the side. It was from Earth. A group of humans stepped out. Among them was Captain Mira Lawson, a leader of Earth's galactic embassy. "Mira," Jack said, surprised but happy. "What are you doing here?" Mira smiled. "We came to check on you. We heard about the marriage and the trouble. We want to help. Zalara looked at Mira with cautious respect. We appreciate the offer, but this is our world and we must handle our own problems. Jack nodded. Still, it's good to have friends. Mira agreed. We're here if you need us. The humans brought supplies, new technology, and advice. Jack showed them the palace and explained what he had learned about the secret enemies. Mira and her team listened carefully. This is bigger than just you and Zalara, she said. It's about peace between worlds. Jack felt hopeful. Maybe Earth could help save the kingdom. That night, Jack sat with Zalara under the stars. Do you think Earth will accept me as part of their world again? He asked quietly. Zalara smiled. You are already part of two worlds. That makes you strong. Jack looked at her. I want to fight for both. Zalara took his hand. Then we fight together. But the shadows still watched, waiting for the right moment. Jack knew that help from Earth was important, but the real battle was still ahead. Days passed, but the danger never left. Jack and Zalara worked closely with the palace guards and Earth's team to strengthen the kingdom's defenses. One afternoon, while walking through the palace corridors, Jack noticed something strange. A royal advisor named Karan was acting nervous and avoiding him. Jack decided to watch Karan carefully. That night, Jack quietly followed Karan to a hidden room in the palace basement. Inside, Jack saw Karan talking with a group of shadowy figures. They were passing secret messages and weapons. Jack's heart raced. Karan was working with the enemies, the same people who wanted to break Jack and Zalara's bond. Jack slipped away and told Zalara immediately. We have a spy inside the palace, he said. Zalara's eyes narrowed. We must act quickly, before they do more harm. Together they planned to catch Karan in the act. They arranged a fake meeting to lure the spies out. When the night came, the hidden room filled with armed men. But the palace guards were ready. They surrounded the room and arrested Karan and his followers. The council was shocked. They realized the enemy was closer than they thought. Zalara stood beside Jack during the trial. Thanks to Jack's courage, we saved our kingdom, she told the council. Jack smiled. I'm just glad I could help. But Jack knew this was only one battle. The war for trust and peace was far from over. The palace was filled with light and hope. After the spy was caught and the enemies defeated, the kingdom began to heal. Jack and Zalara stood together on the palace balcony, looking out at the peaceful city below. Jack took a deep breath. I never thought I'd end up here, he said with a smile, married to an alien princess on another planet. Zalara laughed softly, and yet, here you are, stronger than anyone expected. The people of Thalvari were starting to accept Jack not just as a husband to their princess, but as a leader. His courage and honest heart had won many friends. The Galactic Embassy agreed to stay and help build peace between Earth and Thalvari. Jack's world and Zalara's world were beginning to join as one. One day, the High Council invited Jack to speak before them. He stood tall and spoke simply. I came here not knowing your rules or your ways, but I learned that courage, respect, and love are the same everywhere. The council members nodded, some even smiled. They had seen Jack's true worth. Zalara squeezed Jack's hand. We face the future together. Jack looked at the stars and then at Zalara. This is just the beginning. We'll build a new world. For humans, aliens, and everyone who wants peace. And so Jack, the human who didn't know the rules, became a bridge between two worlds. Together with Princess Zalara, he helped create a future full of hope, friendship, and new adventures. The story of their unexpected marriage was no longer just a mistake. It was the start of a new chapter, a story of courage, love, and the power to change the universe.